trophy has a red and gold reflection.
These guys are hungry for more. They want to build a dynasty here.
Believe in each other. Fly around. Let's find a way to win this game.
And he's going to be hit. Chris Jones got him in a bear hug. Pacheco blasts into the end zone at the 10-5. Late to the end zone. Touchdown.
The Chiefs got back on track last week with a come-from-behind victory over the Raiders. And now with only 6 games left in the regular season, the Chiefs can reclaim the top spot in the AFC standings as they take on the Green Bay Packers on Sunday Night Football. We are 2 hours from kickoff. You've waited all week for this very moment. It's finally here. It is time for football in Chiefs Kingdom. Let's do this. My name is Matt McMullen, joined by one of my favorite people. It's Ari Wolfe from the Chiefs preseason broadcast. He's pinch hitting for Mitch here tonight. Mitch not feeling well today. We're thinking of you, Mitch. Wish you were here, but so glad Ari's here today. This is Field Pass presented by StorageMart. And Ari, obviously you know this team from the preseason, but you've been watching this group ever since we said goodbye way back in August. I'm curious for your thoughts on the resiliency the Chiefs showed last week against the Raiders.
Well, you picked a great word, resiliency, because when they're down 14-0, coming off the loss at home to the Eagles, it was a gut check moment. What was this team made of? And I think what we saw, the leadership from Patrick Mahomes, and you saw everybody come together. The execution got better. They just seemed to dominate it the second half of the game against the Raiders, and it feels like the Chiefs are back. Everybody can calm down. But I think it showed a lot about the character. There are moments in every season where you mark it, and I feel like that was an important moment. You're coming off a loss, you're down 2 scores, you find a way to win on the road against a division opponent. That tells you a lot about the character of this team.
Yeah, exactly. I think it said a lot about this team that they're on the road, down double digits against a hungry opponent, and they got punched in the mouth, right? But they found a way. And I want to ask you about the offense specifically, because at one point early in the second quarter last week, the Raiders had 14 points. The Chiefs had 13 yards of offense. Didn't let it get them down, though. They still found a way to outscore the Raiders 31-3 the rest of the way.
Well, I think one of the key things we saw the rookie Rashee Rice, really, he got the most targets he's had. He goes over 100 yards. And I think there have been questions about who else besides Travis Kelce is going to be somebody that Patrick feels comfortable with in key moments. So I think what developed last week is really promising. I think Rashee's coming into his own, looking more comfortable. I expect him to get a bunch of targets tonight. But I like how Coach Reed referred to it. You got to become Patrick friendly. And I think Rashee's learning what he needs to do to be one of the main targets for Patrick Mahomes. I think tonight we're going to see that continue, and I expect Rice to have a huge game.
Yeah, Rashee was awesome last week, and we saw flashes of that all season long, but really easily the best game of his career last week against the Raiders. He had 8 catches for 107 yards and a touchdown. 4 of those catches picked up first downs, and 2 of those took place on third down, and big third downs too. Happened on the Chiefs for a scoring drive, and then also that touchdown was on third down that basically iced the game for Kansas City. He just talked about it. You saw flashes of that way back in the preseason, but he's really coming into his own.
Well, and he's so physical. What you just love is once he catches the football, he becomes a running back. He's got the ability to break tackles and make things happen. So far we've seen him mainly running short and intermediate routes. I think the next stage is to try to find him on a deep ball, because that was really what he was known for in college at SMU, is high pointing the ball. So there's so much to Rice's game I don't even think that they've explored yet. But the key with him, he gets his hands on the football and he makes things happen.
Super exciting what's happening with Rashee Rice. The challenge for him now is stacking that with another strong game here tonight. And for more on that topic, Mitch and I caught up with Rashee on the latest episode of Defending the Kingdom earlier this week.
Awesome to have this guy with us on Defending the Kingdom. We're talking about stacking them up. So we're going to stack it up. But first of all, this will be the official announcement of how to pronounce his name, because this has been chopped up ever since you got here. Right. So here's drum roll. Your name is pronounced
Rashee Rice.
Rashee Rice, not Rashee. Rashee Rice. Rashee Rice. We got it. All right, Kingdom, now you know. It's awesome to have you here. And first of all, congratulations on an incredible game against the Raiders. How good was it, not only to get to the number, but the big catches you made?
It was great. I did before, the last one where I finally got 100 yards. I didn't even know how many yards I had in that game. And, when I came off the field, I still didn't know. I found out when I was doing the jersey swap, and I was like I should have kept my jersey. So I might got to contact my homeboy and get that jersey back, to be honest.
Who'd you swap it with?
My friend Chris from Georgia.
Okay, Chris, let's get it back. We can get you another number 4.
Yeah, I'll get him another jersey, yeah.
What I think is cool about that game is a lot of those yards were in big moments, and Patrick showed trust in you in major moments. I think about the first scoring drive. It was 3rd and 8. You had a 10-yard catch, really strong grab. Later in the game, like a backyard football kind of play on the first scoring drive of the second half, Patrick's running one way and you get open and you catch the ball for him. Then, of course, the touchdown was on 3rd down.
Yeah.
What's it mean to you that your quarterback trusts you in those moments and you're coming through in those moments?
I mean, it means everything for me. From him obviously being a great quarterback, he's been playing around a lot of great receivers. So for him to trust me as a rookie right now, obviously I'm not looking too far down the road, but it just shows me how much growth I'll have over time with him.
It looked like on the 19-yarder on the first drive of the 3rd quarter, which has kind of been the bugaboo drive, we get a TD. It looked like a side adjustment. How much did you have to adjust on that play to make that play happen?
I had to adjust a lot. To be honest, if I wouldn't have ran where I ran, Trav would have got that ball. I looked at the play a couple times, and I'm glad that I made the play how I did, because if I would have been in the way, the play wouldn't have, went how it went, and it would have been all bad for us right there.
So you never go down at first contact. That play is an example of that. You forced a missed tackle. Where does that mentality come from that you're going to run over guys? You're never going to go down at first contact?
I mean, when I grew up, I was a running back my whole life until high school. So I always had to, I never really was scared of contact. So I had to run through linemen and stuff like that at the time. And now it's kind of like I can use that to my advantage as a wide receiver, because a lot of other wide receivers, they don't have that same, mentality, after they make the catch.
Definitely not. This guy, he
No,
plays like a running back.
I love seeing it when I go, here comes a dude trying to tackle him. Like,
Yeah.
this ain't going to work out well for
The
this guy.
Chargers game was the best.
Yeah,
He ran
it was-
over that safety.
yeah, we're going nuts.
Crazy.
One final question, we'll let you go, Rashid. This stacking them up, because that's our theme of this podcast today, is to stack them up. This league is about stacking them up. How do you stack them up and attack the Packer game?
I mean, it already started, to be honest. First day back, we're in the weight room. I feel like you can't be explosive on the field without getting your legs ready, get back to practice. And then we're going to get in that meeting room, get our plays together, and then take it straight to the field, make sure that we can have a play, a practice full of execution instead of, practicing bad habits.
Ready to stack up another hundo maybe and go get the Packers,
Yes,
Rashid
sir.
Rice.
Yes, sir.
All right, great stuff there from Rashid Rice. Now, I want to ask you about this Packers defense that he'll face here tonight, and it's a defense that's playing some pretty good football right now. Green Bay has won 3 of their last 4 games, and their defense is a big reason why. They have not allowed more than 23 points during that 4-game stretch. What stands out to you about this Packers defense?
Rashawn Gary stands out with his ability to rush the quarterback. 3 sacks last week on Thanksgiving in Detroit. I think this Packers team is probably playing with as much confidence as they have, and I think that this defense is an opportunistic defense. But I think with an Andy Reid coach team, you got to get them off balance early. Maybe move Mahomes around a little bit, see what they're going to do with Gary, because I do think Gary is the catalyst for the defensive front. But look, you've got Patrick Mahomes in this offense. There are going to be opportunities. To me tonight, in these conditions, it's about executing, staying disciplined, and just really, you don't have to do anything you don't already know how to do, right? Play within yourself, no hero ball, and I think that this offense, it's going to score points. I don't know how many points they're going to score against the Packers. I actually think the Packers are the team that's going to struggle to score points tonight.
We'll talk about the Packers offense here in a moment. You're right about Gary, though. He is kind of the core of this Packers defense. 8.5 sacks on the year, including 4 in his last 2 games. Also has 40 pressures. How do you keep a pass rusher like that off balance, though? You run the football.
You do.
And that's an area Green Bay has struggled with this season. They're allowing 135 rushing yards per game, 6th most in the NFL. They've also allowed at least 140 rushing yards on 6 occasions this year, 2nd most of any team. I'd love to see Isaiah Pacheco have a big game here tonight.
Well, I think the conditions are set up for Isaiah Pacheco to have a huge game, right? He's a Jersey guy. He's played in the cold. He's played in the snow. He's good with all of it. And it's the kind of thing where you can wear a defense down, and then you've got Mahomes back there. Then you get the play action. You get those linebackers coming up. You get the safeties coming up. You hit them down the field. But I think Isaiah Pacheco will be critical. But his running style, I think, is really demoralizing to opponents. So you get like 2 or 3 guys on him, and he breaks tackles, and he wears you down. So I think if the Chiefs decide that Pacheco is going to be the guy, get him 20-plus carries tonight. See if by the end of the game you can wear out the Packers, and that will certainly set up Patrick Mahomes in the passing game.
It has to be so frustrating trying to tackle him. It's like, dude, go down. He's like, no, I'm never going down at first contact.
He's only got one speed. I mean,
100 miles per hour.
And he's just, the passion that he plays with, he's just so much fun to watch. I think his energy is just infectious, and when he gets going, it always gives the Chiefs a spark.
Now, I do want to ask you about this Packers offense. You mentioned they're playing good football right now as well. 29 points against the Lions in Detroit on Thanksgiving last week. Your thoughts on this Packers offense?
Well, I'm going to steal something that Mitch shared with me this week about Jordan Love. There's hot love and there's cold love. The hot love is in their 5 wins. He's got 9 touchdown passes and 0 interceptions. In the 6 losses, 10 touchdown passes, 10 interceptions. So it's all really about Jordan Love. When he's good, they've got a chance. He makes some mistakes. They haven't been able to overcome that. They're a team right now that basically has to be almost flawless to take down the defending Super Bowl champions. But, you know, I think for the Packers, 6 weeks ago, you might have been thinking, are they going to draft a quarterback? And now I think that they've seen enough from Jordan Love to know that he's their guy. This is a huge game for Jordan Love and the Packers. You've got Sunday Night Football, the whole league watching, and you're taking on the defending champs. We're going to learn a lot about Jordan Love tonight.
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting point because you're right. There were some struggles early on this year, but right now he's playing the best football of his career. And if you look at week 1 through week 8, he completed just 58% of his passes, not very good. Well, over the last 4 games, he's completed 65% of his passes, pretty good. His yards per attempt average during the first 8 weeks of the season, 6.38, not very good, but over the last 4 weeks, 8.02. Pretty good, right? And look at his passer rating. There's 2 different time frames, 78.2 to 103.1. They're letting him throw the football around, trying to figure out what they have in Jordan Love, and it's paying off for him so far.
Well, I saw him a lot in college, and you saw that he had a really good skill set. He's a good athlete. He could throw from a bunch of different arm angles. But he's a guy, you got to get out there and get the reps, right, in a real game. And his first start was 2 years ago at GEHA Field at Arrowhead, right?
2021, yeah.
He looked like a little bit of a deer in the headlights. I think you're going to see a different quarterback today, an improved quarterback. But, the lights are big. You learn a lot about people in these primetime games, who can handle the moment. And I think that Jordan Love is a guy that has a lot of upside. But I think if you're the Chiefs and that Chiefs pass rush, whether it's Karlaftis, Chris Jones, hit him early, make him a little jittery in the pocket, make them have to do other things to get him to a spot where he's comfortably making his throws. So I think getting off to a fast start defense will be a key, because Packers team, the longer they stay in it, the more their confidence is going to build and think that they can actually win this game. So if the Chiefs can come out fast, I think that's the way to set the tone.
Well, and Jordan Love's facing a Chiefs defense here that might be the best defense in the NFL. And it's funny because last time I saw you, we talked about this. Like, man, this defense has so much potential, and they've done it over the last 11 games, the first 11 games of the season. The Chiefs have yet to allow an opponent to score more than 24 points this year. They're the first team since the 2013 Carolina Panthers to do that. They've been outstanding. What's impressed you most about this Chiefs defense?
What's impressed me the most is the second-year development of all those guys on the back end.
Yeah.
So you could take a player, he's drafted by one team, take a twin brother and take him to another guy, and a year later, what do they both look like? Player development. The way this Chiefs defensive staff has turned these second-year guys into legitimate. I mean, McDuffie is going to be a Pro Bowl player. There's zero doubt about it. Hopefully he'll be too busy to go to the Pro Bowl. But I'm telling you, it's the back-end guys. All those young guys, they've got great length. They kind of, they came into the league together. So to me, it's about player development on the back end. You've already got the great pass rush. I think this defense, the great part is it hasn't even peaked, and these guys are young. This defense, we may be changing the whole storyline that it's always about Mahomes and the offense because they're so sexy. The defense has been bringing it, and they've been the most consistent unit all year.
Yeah, this defense has been outstanding, maybe the best group in the NFL. And for more on this defense, I caught up with former All-Pro defensive back Devin McCourty earlier this week. All right, we're joined now by Devin McCourty from Football Night in America. Of course, also a former All-Pro defensive back in the NFL. And Devin, you know a lot about defense, so I want to ask you about the Chiefs defense here, which has been outstanding this season. When you've been watching the Chiefs defense this year, why do you think they've been so successful?
Probably a little biased, but I think the secondary play, it sticks out. I think the way L'Jarius Sneed has approached these matchups, it's not like he's just going out there playing man-to-man against some random guys. You have Miami, he goes out there and guards Tyreek Hill. You play against Philadelphia, he's up there man-to-man with A.J. Brown. You go and play the Raiders, he's up there man-to-man with Devontae Adams. 3 of the best guys in the league over this year, 3 years ago. Like, these guys have been some of the best. And he's gone out there and said, you know what, give me that pressure, give me that stress. And when you have players like that that can do that, it allows Spagnuolo, the rest of the defense, to be creative, to be aggressive. And then I think obviously the next person that jumps out to me is McDuffie. The ability to cover, make plays, but also blitz off the edge. And sometimes with smaller DBs, you don't like blitzing them as much because you're like, you're not going to get the quarterback down. He blitzes with fire, passion. So I've really enjoyed watching this secondary. Spotlighting those two guys, but I think Cook and Reed obviously have played really big in the secondary, and I think Reed has taken over that leadership kind of control in the back end that's made this team really good.
Yeah, I want to ask you about McDuffie in particular because he's played at an all-pro level this season, I think. But you kind of know about this. You were really good your rookie season, and then the onus was on you to then be really good your second year and be even better. What's that process like for a young player like Trent, who was so good as a rookie and now is even better this year? How difficult is that?
It is, and I think it's a credit to him of being in the film room studying, because when you're a rookie and you're a good player, no one knows you. They don't know what you do well. They scouted you a little bit coming out of college, but players don't know you. But after your rookie year, they kind of get the book on you to figure out what you do well. And I think one of the things that's been very helpful, he's in the same defense. He had the ability to learn from what they did last year, the type of player he was in the defense, how that transitions to the next year. He could spend the whole offseason doing that. And I think it shows immensely how much work he's put in, because he doesn't have to tell you about it. He doesn't have to talk about it. You see it in his play. You see him showing up in the front in the run game, whether it's blitzing or just reading his keys and making plays. You see him show up covering guys. And I just love how aggressive he plays the game with. He plays and he goes out there. And I think all of the Kansas City corners, they go and cover people. They play a lot of man-to-man. But what I'm impressed most by is they tackle. In today's game, we always look at, we don't want corners to tackle, just cover it. No, like if you want a championship defense, a championship team, guys have to buy into it's bigger for the team and the defense. It's bigger than my stats and my play. And to see those guys come in and show up, that's showing up for your team, showing up for the linebackers, showing up for the D-line, and they do that week in and week out.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. On the outside, it might seem obvious. All football players on defense should tackle, but the reality is some corners don't want to tackle. And if you want to play for Steve Spagnuolo at corner, you have to tackle. And Trent McDuffie, L'Jarius Sneed, all these guys, they're willing tacklers. My last question for you, just based on your study looking at the Green Bay offense going into this game, an offense that's playing a lot better football lately, what does the Chiefs defense need to do here on Sunday night to make sure Green Bay's offense can't find success?
Yeah, I think we used to talk about this in our defensive meetings. There's one guy who touches the ball every single play, and that's going to be the quarterback, Jordan Love. And I think when you watch him, he's been very comfortable these last few weeks of finding those receivers. There was a lot of talk in the offseason. Aaron Rodgers is leaving because they don't have the receivers. And now you look and you're like, oh, they got three pretty good receivers over there who are making a lot of plays. And I think they've opened it up to starting the game off, kind of throwing the ball and loosening the defense up. And I think they take that approach against Kansas City. It'll be up to the guys up front, the Chris Joneses, the Karlaftis. They're going to have to go out there and create pressure and make it hard for Jordan Love to just drop back and be comfortable and take away that aspect of the game. And I think that'll be a key for this defense. They've done a good job of that all year. I was so impressed turning on the Philadelphia film, going against, arguably the best offensive line in the NFL, and they really got after them, creating plays and really making Hurst uncomfortable for most of that game. So I think they need to have that same approach going against Jordan Love, and they've done it all year. And I think the hardest thing is once you get to this point in the season is teams have now watched you do it over and over again, and they know what you do well, and they'll try to combat that. And I think Kansas City has to make sure from the opening play that Jordan Love feels the pressure, whether they're sacking him or just hitting him or in his face. I think that could be a big difference in this game.
Yeah, this Packers offense is playing good football right now. It'll be a challenge for the Chiefs on Sunday night, but this defense may be the best in the NFL so far this year. They've held the opposition under 25 total points in all 11 games. First team to do that since the 2013 Carolina Panthers. Let's see if they can do it again here against the Packers. He's Devin McCourty. Awesome stuff, as always. Really appreciate your time. Catch him on Football Night in America prior to the game. Devin, thanks so much.
Thank you, man. Have a good one. Good luck to the Chiefs.
All right, awesome stuff there from Devin McCourty. We have the inactives. I'll go over those in just a moment. But first, Ari, you're new to this. We have a promo discount code every week on Field Pass, so get ready for this one. The code this week is Defending the Kingdom. Of course, Mitch and I's podcast. Defending the Kingdom. If you say that at checkout at the Pro Shop at GEHA Field at Arrowhead Stadium, you're going to get 10% off your purchase. Now, as always, there are some rules around this. The offer is not valid on game day or the day before. It cannot be stacked with other discounts. It's in-store only. Unfortunately, does not work online. Only the Pro Shop at GEHA Field at Arrowhead Stadium. And it excludes memorabilia, Oakleys, Ray-Bans, and sale items. But these awesome jackets that we're wearing tonight.
Hey, he's my personal shopper. All this, all him. He's your style guru for the Chiefs.
We needed to get Ari some clothes. Like, just go to the Pro Shop, get some stuff. I'm like, these are really cool jackets.
This is a collector's item. You got to get this jacket.
Now, you can have this jacket if you go to the Pro Shop and say Defending the Kingdom at checkout. You're going to get 10% off your purchase. All right, Ari, so looking at the inactives here, not a lot of surprises for the Chiefs. We knew Jerick McKinnon was not going to play here tonight. He's making progress, just not quite ready with that groin injury. Also, Nick Bolton not going to play here tonight. You won't see him on the inactives list. That's because he's still on injured reserve. Now, he is practicing. That's great news. Hopefully we have him back here soon. Not quite ready with that wrist injury, but Nick Bolton and Jerick McKinnon not going to play tonight. Overall, though, we're in Week 13, and the guys are pretty healthy for this one.
Pretty healthy. Look, you miss anybody who's a regular part of what you're doing on offense with McKinnon. But look, Bolton has missed some time, and the defense hasn't missed a beat. They've got some depth back there, so now you're going to have guys that have been in roles maybe that are a little bit more different than what they were accustomed to when Bolton's out there. It's all about building, right? You just want to keep growing. It's all about growth, building every week. There's a lot of season left, and the only goal for this franchise is to win the Super Bowl. So get everybody healthy at the right time of year, but it's great that these other guys are getting experience and having success to build on the overall team confidence.
Absolutely. Now, looking at the Packers, they had a laundry list of injuries. Lots of guys listed as questionable coming into this one. One guy we knew about already was Aaron Jones at running back. Maybe the Packers' best offensive player. He's not going to play here tonight with a knee injury. It's a big deal. Second consecutive game he'll have missed. Forces A.J. Dillon into that starting role at running back. They also had 8 players listed as questionable, including cornerback Jair Alexander, one of the best corners in the NFL with a shoulder injury. He's inactive here tonight. So Jair Alexander is not going to play tonight in this game. That's a big deal. He has not played since Week 8. They are getting some guys back, though. Linebacker Devondre Campbell had a neck injury. He was questionable coming in, missed last week's game against the Lions. He is active for this game. Safety Rudy Ford, one of their starters, he was questionable coming in, hasn't played since Week 9. He is active for this game as well. Safety Darnell Savage, who started each of the Packers' first 6 games this year, activated from injured reserve yesterday. He is active tonight. And then Jaden Reed and Dontavion Wicks, 2 rookie receivers, pretty good players. Reed leads the Packers in receiving yards with 497. They're both going to play tonight as well. Everyone always gets healthy against the Chiefs. It's kind of how it works. We're used to this, but Jair Alexander not playing significant.
It is significant. He is their best true corner. If they are going up against the number 1 receiver, they want Alexander on him. So they'll have to make an adjustment defensively. Maybe we'll see different kinds of coverages. Obviously, you always want to mix it up against Mahomes, but Alexander is a guy who you definitely have to know where he is on every play. So you take him out of the equation. Anytime you take one of your best players off, everybody else has to step up. I think there will be opportunities in the passing game without Alexander there. But I do think it's interesting, the Reed-Rice comparison. You've got 2 rookie wide receivers who are both having huge impacts. I think we saw it with Rashee Rice early in training camp. Reed has really been a revelation. He's kind of a little guy. He moves around underneath. He can do it in the slot. I'd be very curious to see how defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo tries to match up against Reed, because he seems to be a catalyst for the Packers offense.
And listen, I mean, overall, these guys are playing great football right now. They're getting healthy at the right time, and they think they can make a playoff run. They're 5-6 right now, but they've won 3 of their last 4 games, and they have a real shot at making the playoffs this year if they can stay hot. But what a great opportunity this is for the Chiefs. Kansas City controls its own destiny the rest of the way. That begins here tonight, and hopefully in about 4 hours, we're talking about how the Chiefs have the number 1 seed right now in the AFC. For Ari Wolfe, I'm Matt McMullen. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Let's go get a victory.